Yeah, not really much to say about TSM. It is just quite literally the Bjergsen show. Generally speaking, I think TSM is pretty strong individually, but I do not think they are a very good team. I don't think they play the game very smart, and I don't think that, for some reason, it doesn't really make sense they have so many veterans, but when it's really in clutch time, they seem like they choke so badly, and they just make the most wonky decisions. So I'm very confident going into the BO5 against TSM, obviously.
Obviously.
And surprising no one, Dardoch has very strong words. Well, we're back and ready to roll for Game 3, where EchoFox have chosen blue side after tying up this series, and they did look very different in that win.
Yeah, so we haven't been seeing different sides, though, for these teams. It's been blue side for EchoFox 3 games in a row, able to counterpick the Kai'Sa, and because that worked out this time, the question is, do you go back to the Kai'Sa for TSM as one of your first round picks, or do you ban away the same things and take an Alistar for yourself and kind of mix things up?
Yeah, exactly. This is the first time that TSM really is going to have to show us some adaptation in that pick ban, because Draven was proven to work. We can see that, you know, the Kindred, as they talked about on the desk, is going to be available and up, right? So, again, does TSM kind of do what EchoFox did in Game 2 and say, no, 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 this was the right comp, we just played it wrong, we can still win in the same way? So far, the Varus is going to be banned out. We'll see if Draven doesn't have to be added to the ban list, but you can just pick Kai'Sa at a different point in the draft.
Yeah, Rakan, Tom Kench were the last bans there. Ezreal actually added instead of Braum for EchoFox.
That, to me, makes me wonder if they're actually just going to first pick Braum. You know, if it's up, do they actually value it that highly? You know, expecting perhaps a swap over to the Alistar or something like that. Braum can often be a very strong answer there. As Alistar engages, Braum jumps forward, puts up the shield.
I was going to say, I think it depends on that. And I think with the Rise ban, they are going to first pick Braum. A really nice read from EchoFox.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. I think just kind of in the flow of the series on some of the adaptations and changes that have been made, this does seem like a good takeaway. The Rise not going to be going Damonte's way for the first time in this series, so getting some respect for how well he has been playing it.
Yeah, which is so interesting, because if you don't ban the Rise, then you get at least Rise or Braum, and you force them to pick one of them, which is, it's very interesting to me that TSM went for that.
I wonder if this is the Sven bot lane Swain. We have seen 2 games. He won them both during the regular season. I don't believe Bjergsen has played it just once. Okay, so 1 game on Bjergsen. So it could be a flex pick. Traditionally, this split, it has been more of a bottom lane carry.
And he was playing it a lot in solo queue, right? So it's been something that he picked up the mages quickly, even though they didn't show him on stage.
This is very, very interesting, because it does make it a lot harder, because this would be where you would lock in that Draven, right? But you don't actually know. So theoretically, you could go the Draven, then they just lock in a Kai'Sa or whatever third pick, if you go something a bit more passive.
Yeah, and they also got a really good combo on TSM side. Trundle Pillar into the Swain pull, whether it's mid or bottom, is very, very potent in the early game. It just depends on which lane you kind of want to mess up with your jungle ganks. You want to go to the Swain lane.
Oh, wow. I love it. Stealing away the Kai'Sa after picking Kindred again for Dardoch.
Throwing down the gauntlet there, saying, I'll show you how it's done. But what would be really spicy is if Sven locked in Draven right now and says, I'll show you how to play that counter matchup.
Yeah, I don't know about Draven into Braum, though. He's going to block a lot of the damage, soak it up. That's the one that is like, the Braum is kind of a stopper and allows you to pick the Kai'Sa yourself without too much fear of a Draven counter pick.
Oh, so Pyke, if we get the Pyke Swain is such a popular bottom lane because of some of the interactions with the passive. You get the Pyke hook, then you can actually pull them back even further and get this kind of super long distance pull. You can also pull off of the little dive forward with the stun coming up from Pyke. So can be a very popular combo. This was really used a lot by Bwipo and Hillsang for Fnatic over in the EU LCS, one of their most successful lanes, and TSM going to be bringing it out again here. They have played it once together in the NALCS.
And it's been a very potent combo, like you said. It's kind of the double tug, the pull backwards. And so the Kai'Sa, especially the Braum, has to watch out for that, right? Because the Braum will get pulled so far in that he will be out of range to W, and it'll force the Kai'Sa to walk up at that point. And that means you haven't potentially even committed your E as Pyke, and you can stun afterwards.
Yasuo as a ban here, very interesting. Now, that Trundle Yasuo combo can be pretty powerful, and may be something that they're kind of worried about, as Damonte could be looking for a blind pick mid.
Feels like there's kind of 2 champions that signal to me when you ban champion like Yasuo, Gnar and Zoe, kind of the obvious ones. Zoe obviously untouched this series, which is pretty insane given how prevalent she's been even in recent weeks, but a Syndra ban from TSM, so finally going to push Damonte down a few pegs.
Have to remember though, it has been nerfed on 816, so a lot of people are going to have lower priority on the pick in general. But yeah, no Syndra, no Ryze. Damonte gonna have to show us something new.
And I'm looking at Damonte's picks. 5 Syndra games, 2 Yasuo, 1 Zillion, 1 Akali, 1 Ryze. The other champions that are left he's even played this split are 2 Zoe and 1 Cassiopeia, as well as a Galio. So he is going to have to show us something not just new in this series, but potentially something new for his career so far in this split.
Yeah, I mean, there's been 6 mid lane bans so far between Akali, Yasuo, LeBlanc, and so Azir seems like a pretty nice pick here, blind for Bjergsen. Damonte did not have an impressive Akali game. And this may be trying to bait that pick a little bit, saying that they are confident. Akali actually banned out, as you are now pointing out. But that, you know, normally you think about Assassins as kind of the answer here. I'm not sure what he would go. Cassio can tend to struggle, like I've seen a lot of times in those matchups. Galio can be an answer.
And they're still waiting on it, though. This would be a blind pick Rumble for Huni.
Okay.
Which means that the Trundle doesn't get a big beef ball to use the ultimate against.
Maybe you go Galio then, as you are a pretty squishy team composition here. Galio can work pretty well with Kindred. You have the Kai'Sa diving in the back line that you can kind of follow up on. So could be a possibility, but we'll see if that is going to be the answer or if he wants to go something more aggressive. I mean, Zed would be super hype. I doubt we'll get it, but...
He did hover it. He does like the champion.
Ari.
Ooh.
Yeah, it looks like Ari may be the selection here. Damonte will show us something new. It is Ari.
I really like this pick here. The fact that it's got Assassin, it's going to play into the composition a little bit and give them a little more mobility. The wave clear early is good too.
Yeah, that wave clear, very important point to bring up, is a lot of these compositions we haven't seen a big focus on wave clear, and being able to push in the Azir, kind of bully that Azir out and look for either the all-ins or the roams could be pretty powerful. Going to be the Rumble versus Gnar matchup in the top lane. Haunts are getting counterpick once again.
And even though I like the counterpick for TSM, I think one of the nice things Damonte has done for Huni is got him off Cho'Gath duty. They banned Rumble twice before this series, and now Huni clearly feeling confident enough to play it blind.
Yeah, it was kind of, they picked the Trundle, banned away some of the carry top laners that Huni would play, and then they made it so that, oh, he's going to play a tank, and then he's just going to help Rig out. But now, this seems like mid-game for Echo Fox here. If they can have some good early game fights off the back of potentially Damonte or even this Braum and Dardoch, then they can have that acceleration from the Rumble top lane, because he's not about the split push, he's about the team fighting in like 15-20 minute area.
And this is much more of a kind of composition that you expect to see from Echo Fox. This is the first time it looks like that regular season Echo Fox comp.
No tank.
All squishy. Yeah, support tank is the only one. There are so many threats that it can be very difficult to navigate these team fights. As an Azir, if you are protected, if you are sitting back and comfortably damaging, you'll do a lot, but Kai'Sa can jump on you. The Ahri can dive back and assassinate you. The Rumble ultimate can get dropped on you. It's going to be tough for Bjergsen.
Yeah, but on the flip side, Echo Fox, they really are dealing with mostly magic damage. Swain, Azir, the Trundle isn't going to offer too much in terms of physical damage, and then Haunter's going to be potentially split pushing for most of the game. So if itemization comes through, which is mostly magic damage focused or magic resistance focused, Echo Fox can have some good mid-game fights.
Yeah, going to be really interesting. And if it does turn into that split push style of game for Haunter, there is not a lot of hard engage here whatsoever for Echo Fox. You can drop the equalizer to try to start something, or you can kind of jump in and start something, but that is not consistent.
I also liked what Dardoch said. You know what, TSM? That is the Bjergsen show. Gonna be this game if TSM have a strong performance. Yes, he is so much of their threat in the mid to late game here on this Azir. He's forced Damonte down to Ahri, but we had kind of a slower than expected game 1. Game 2, much more fast, much more slower paced. And before we get to game 3, we're gonna throw it down to a sideline report with Ovely.
Thanks, guys. ThinkCard, I want to ask you, what was the attitude of the team like after the first game loss, and how are you guys able to refocus and pull off the game 2?
So after the first game, we had a lot of early game pressure, so we really just had confidence that we just made a mistake around the Baron first turret, just decision making. And so we were just confident in ourselves that if we run it back with the same picks, we'll just play it better, and we did, and we'll have a cleaner early game and just go forward with those advantages.
So to that, game 1 and game 2's draft were pretty similar, so why the big changes in game 3?
We just expected them to change things up, and we have so many different prepared drafts that we always just want to keep them on their toes because they just can't get comfortable and think we're going to do the same thing every game.
Well, thank you and best of luck to you. Back to the casters.
I absolutely love that mentality in a best of 5, because if you just keep doing the same thing, not only are you kind of showing that this is the strategy that you are most comfortable with, you also, if you progress in the tournament, kind of show that these are the champions that they can shut you down on, and then you have to kind of change things up or prepare for the future.
Yeah, and one of the strengths of Echo Fox has always been that they're so hard to draft against, right? So they want to maintain that. They want to be able to show that they can perform on all these different champions. And it's going to be an exciting game. And for Bjergsen, the franchise player for TSM, you talked about a lot of the onus is on him to do that consistent damage in the late game, but he also has so many tools to keep him safe, so much zoning potential. Swain with an ultimate running forward, Grig in the front line, Mythy diving in. There's so many characters to create space.
Well, as we are here in the bot lane, certainly going to be on TSM's duo, trying to win out in the early pressure with 2 Dravens there first. The Kai'Sa lost, had a pretty good run in that lane with Smoothie. So now it's Venom's Mythy. They don't often dominate lane. They're really good at splitting. But if they can get ahead, they'll likely stay ahead.
Yeah, and with something like the Swain and the teleport, it's a lot of, they'll be able to go and push themselves to have this kind of big push out. Then they can go back, TP in with an item advantage. And the electrocute there, we've talked about it a bit already today, where it's a nerf in terms of the upfront damage that it will deal when you proc it, because it was every 60 seconds. Now you proc it every lane, and Azir has a pretty easy way to proc it with the W, auto, Q, auto, and then it will go off.
Yeah, definitely a nice trading pattern there in both the mid laners. This is something we talked a lot about over the last couple of weeks, but you may be wondering why the Corrupting Potion starts, why not Doran's Ring? This is about the interaction actually with Time Warp Tonic in Inspiration Secondary. Very often people are going Corrupting Potion into Biscuits, and you have so much sustain as you see the first Biscuits pop up, that it becomes very difficult to push out. And if you have it and your opponent does not, you simply just kind of grind them down.
Yeah, and it gives that tiny bit of movement speed, which people don't always care too much about, but it can come up clutch in some situations. And we talked about the wave clear in this mid lane. Damonte's put 2 points into Q early instead of ranking up W. He's more concerned with just getting that damage off. And there's the pull.
Nice hook into the slow. Also, the lightning comes out from Sven Lost. Eating a lot of pressure there, just under the turret.
And he's on Doran's Ring, right? So he is going for more of kind of like the mana wave clear style setup. He does not have a Doran shield to withstand a lot of this poke. So every time you take one of those trades, it is very, very punishing. And that's both his potions gone off of 1 trade.
Yeah, exactly. 2 potions with the Doran's Ring. But then also Smoothie, he's burning through potions as well. He's only got 1 left. And then he has the Relic Shield that has been giving a little bit of HP over. But that's the thing, is you got to whittle them down, play to the side.
The farm is also quite a big deal this early on. So Sven and Mythy really dominating this early laning phase, and we'll see Ken lost and Smoothie stabilized.
Because they've had losing lanes in both of the last 2 games where they've been under turret. Now they've reversed it, and it's an Infernal Drake. So an early Infernal Drake pickup off the bottom lane pressure would be exactly what TSM wants to start this game 3 off on the right foot.
We always have to think about, too, when it is about those early dragon fights, can top laners get to level 6? Do they have their TPs available? Because Rumble at 6 in that early team fight, very powerful. Ahri as well. First level 6 ultimate that's expended, very, very powerful.
Well, you can see this matchup again. Haunsa struggling a little early on, actually, here. Huni, such a capable Rumble play here, but again, Botland's going to continue to have action. Good block there from Smoothie. Actually gets hooked back there as well. Now the stun lining up, but Mythy goes camouflage and walks away.
Yeah, you have to at least retaliate in some way. You can't just let the lane happen. But even with that said, Sven still very, very healthy. The potion's pretty much untouched for the side of TSM, and they even have biscuits to boot.
Yeah, exactly. They haven't used any potions. They have their biscuits. They're sitting pretty down here.
CS advantage to boot, too.
This is something I love about TSM's dual lane, is so often we mention how good they are at splitting lanes, especially loot lanes that you'd think they otherwise lose. I want to see them now if they can get a winning lane and smash it. And right now with Greek paying attention, oh, that started, excuse me. Not too surprised though, the junglers are starting to take visits down there.
Yeah, but he might have to go all the way around if he wants a gank to happen, because that's just a tri-brush ward. There's no ward up in the anywhere in the river that would spot him if he were to play to this side. And Mythy has Sweeper. He doesn't have wards to place down. So he goes around a clear vision not to place it, and it leaves the pushing lane vulnerable.
You can also see a very different focus on kind of priorities here in the mid lane as far as itemization goes. Double Dark Seal is Damonte wanting immediate power, looking for kills early. Bjergsen goes boots and a null Magic Mantle. So he is just looking to survive to farm. He doesn't necessarily need to kill his opponent to be winning. If he is even going even in farm, Bjergsen is going to feel like he is winning this lane.
Yeah, and getting that before level 6. You need some magic resistance before level 6 comes out, or else it's kind of the rule of thumb against Ahris and Syndra's. You really do need that as soon as possible, because you're looking to scale, you're not looking to smash the lane. And what's going to stop you from scaling is getting destroyed by the all-in from the Assassin. Right here, Grig on that Infernal Drake has the smite. He's going to be able to pick that one up, and it's good off the bot lane pressure, but also he knew Dardoch was top to get the mark.
Yeah, Dardoch instead just got the crab, so the Fox have to play to their strong side with for the first time in this series, is not the bot lane 2v2. Huni, though, kind of having a field day at 1v1 versus Honsa. Remember, this was a counter pick from Honsa. So Huni right now showing some of that early proficiency.
And part of the problem here with the Equivox comp, as Honsa getting a little trade in there, is that there's, as we talked about, there being very little engage. Where do you gank from Dardoch, right? You don't have a lot of CC in your kit, so unless someone just pushes way up, you can't really gank effectively on this Gnar. So maybe you can go to Bjergsen.
Damonte also trying to roam up. He's a good candidate as TP in from Fox. They really want to take this red buff here. And here's Smoothie coming in, does have the spell book, so that looks to be a red buff steal. Dardoch just waltzes in with 4 and takes it away.
Pretty big commitment, though, for that. They're actually going to expend the first spellbook TP. One of the nice things about that, though, is it at least gets that rotation kicking through. Once you actually use 6 different summoner spells, you start getting them very, very fast. So Smoothie, not too afraid about using it liberally.
Yeah, and you want to do it very, very early on. People have like blown ignites, they've blown heals in just one lane.
They go.
Look at that, Bjergsen.
Oh, Bjergsen with a good scoop back, but again, dash back there for Damonte. Gonna force the flash out of the Azir. Here's Mithy. Actually gonna get things turned back around on Dardoch. Just wants to fight him. Smoothie's here in the mid lane, that's why. But a stun under the turret. Good ult there from Dardoch to stay alive.
Just barely, too, with the Lamb's Respite. And that is flash blown from Bjergsen, and then the ultimate from Dardoch. And a lot of the times when you're trying to gank these lanes and go for a turret dive, you need that Lamb's Respite to make it happen.
Yeah, and Dardoch just kind of chased forward into the Phantom Undertow there from Mithy. So he just walked into that stun under the turret and gave up more than he needed to. It was a good initial play, though, from them, trading out the ultimate for the flash from Damonte, because Damonte now, next time his ultimate is up, you can go for a charm flash on a Bjergsen. If you nail that, still having Ignite available, there is the possibility of the kill.
Cleanse there, though, from Bjerg, so it can keep away, but Dardoch, I like that he's kind of not doing as much farming, trying to pressure some of these lanes. He's been very proactive in the top half of the map.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to focus on farming because both Damonte and Lost are down in CS. Huni's up in CS. So you want to have at least another person who, when you go to 2-on-2s, you have somebody who's quite powerful. So using the Kindred's kind of early part of the game where you have an advantage in farm and speed over the Trundle is going to get him to his completed jungle item sooner than Grave.
I think Damonte also doing the right thing, just shoving the wave and then going to roam. This feels like you asking, where's the CC? It really does just come from Ari, who can set up well when she has ulti.
And this vote at the bottom of the screen is so close, 49 to 51%. This is TSM that you're talking about. Like you said, 10 straight finals for them until last split. And it just seems like a lot of people have kind of jumped ship, lost faith, and kind of believed more in Echo Fox recently.
It's been a very close series so far. I think a tough 1-2 call. And despite the fact that Sven and Mithy have established this big CS advantage, if Lost and Smoothie can stabilize and continue to farm and not give up kills, not give up the turret, they will be very relevant in later fights.
Yeah, the Kai'Sa will be incredibly relevant. They do have to worry about the counter of Bjergsen having a lot of damage, but question is, I'm watching Huni's ultis. He has TP right now. If he TPs in, there's potential for a turnaround, but it looks like they're ganking top on the side of Echo Fox.
Yeah, first blood on the table. Teams wants to try and grab it. Honsa, they're already in onto Huni. Dardoch here on the top side. Good equalizer. He's going to force the flash away. First blood gifted over as Dardoch collects it.
He gets the mark there, too. Very, very big. And Echo Fox deflect that pressure on the bottom side. 4 men from TSM went down. Smoothie and Lost back up. They do fall further behind in farm, but they get first blood topside.
And we talk about Echo Fox as a team. It's the bloody skirmishes. Those are what they usually go for. That's the MO. Right there, that's a classic Huni gank my lane type strategy. Go to top lane, get him ahead. And Huni, the rest of the team played around it perfectly with retreating on the bottom side.
Also got to remember, this was Haunser's counter pick. He is now, after this gank, going to lose his turret. He's down over 30 CS. It's solo gold being given on to Huni. This is a Huni-esque performance for the first time in a long time.
On one of the champions that he was known for. When he came to North America, it was like, boy, this guy has a Rumble that y'all need to see. And it's his Rumble, it's his GP. They banned away one of them in the previous game, and 2 of them at some points. But the Rumble, he gets his hands on here, forces the flash with the equalizer, and Dardoch is right there to pick it up.
Exactly. Dardoch right there. Very well coordinated from the duo up on the top side. Double spell pen already done here for Huni. He's working towards likely a Haunting Guise, and he's going to be ready to go for team fights.
They also got the first turret and the Rift Herald off the map. So again, Dardoch's attention to detail in top lane has borne a lot of good fruit in recent memory. And now Bjergsen, he's trying to get out here. TSM must say, we can't split the map anymore. You guys have won top lane, so let's try and do something bot side. But so far, so good on the defense for Fox.
I mean, this is what they're giving up, though, right? You know, their bottom lane was already losing, and multiple times, 4 men from TSM have been walking down this way, so the already losing bottom lane has to give up more. You can't win that heavily on both sides. If you're getting turret and a kill and Rift Herald, well, your bottom lane needs to just run away.
Yeah, and the awkward thing, too, is when your bottom lane wins and you get the first turret, you go, all right, time to swap the map, go to the top side, get Rift Herald. Their top lane won, they got Rift Herald, but you don't swap your top laner to bottom when the Ocean Drake is coming up. So you have to just have your losing 2-on-2 stay in the bad matchup. It's because the Drake is something that you need to contest for, and you can't have your power point of your top laner swap.
It's definitely a really good point, and we'll see how effective can Huni be, especially if he can get another full level. He needs to hit 11, but if he can get to that rank 2 ultimate before the next dragon fight, he has a lot of what he needs to really succeed in this team fight with double spell pen. And if you start to get people fairly low with that equalizer, then Damonte can fly in, Lost can fly in. You can look to really start to execute on some of those kills.
The teams are ramping up towards this Ocean Drake, which is now back and alive. Sven looking good with that Rod of Ages done, but maybe Dardoch actually abandoning that for now. He's going to get the bounty instead. Haunter's going to see him, so they know where he is. But Dardoch just wants to steal this red buff. Haunter started the leash for him.
It's a great steal from him. He gets the red. He's 3 levels above Grig right now. When you look at the gold, he's 1,200, he's 1,300 gold above Grig at this moment in time. Dardoch is actually just smashing him, and sure, he got the first blood. That's only 400 of that 1,200 gold.
He also has 3 marks already, so he's closing in on that 4-mark lead that you really, really want to hit. But this has been such a just clear divide on teams' priorities. TSM saying, yep, sorry, Haunter, we're going to sacrifice you. We'll give up everything on the top side. And Echo Fox is not even looking towards the bot side. They have sacrificed down there. You can see that also by where all the vision is from TSM. So much throughout this bottom side Echo Fox jungle to protect Sven and Mithy and allow them to keep pushing.
Yeah, the issue, though, is when you go back to draft, you go, why do you pick the Gnar then if you're not going to focus it and try to counter the Rumble, because you're giving the Rumble a freer lane at that point, and you're hoping maybe he can win it one-on-one and you focus the bottom side, but that has not been the story here at all.
Yeah, and that's where it becomes about that discussion, the argument of, is it worth picking something to just survive? And if you feel, hey, it's a strong matchup and I can be okay if I get focused, then maybe there is some sense to that. But that becomes arguments about which should you do? Should you snowball the winning matchup? Should you defend the losing matchup? And that is a very complicated question.
Fox again, though, doing a nice job with a ton of their pressure. Damonte getting the minions pushed in. Lost and Smoothie maybe a little too far forward, but Dardoch going to roam down. Vision of Empire will tag Smoothie, but Dardoch and Damonte roaming in.
Looks like they want to fight for this blue buff, try to take that away from Bjergsen, make him a little bit more vulnerable as Damonte will have to get out there.
Charm going to miss. Damonte going to eat not too much of a trade there, though. And again, now Fox collapsing. Mithy maybe too far forward. Blue buff again, still going to get fought for here. That should be over. TSM just concedes the buff. Greg steals
got it.
And now actually maybe the fight is going to break out. There's the move back there. Smoothie though gets a massive promo on Dardoch. Takes down Mithy instantly. Now Sven going to pop his up, but here comes Huni in the choke point with the equalizer. Sven though charging up, but doesn't go over the wall. And now Haunter going to bounce back over onto Dardoch, but lost. Oh, he's in onto Sven. He's going to try and take down the bot lane as fuck. Do dive here on the turret. Haunter is left out to dry, but Dardoch does ult. Damonte goes down though to Sven.
They're corralled now. Sven's still alive.
Too far forward. Sven though still going to die, but Dardoch is going to have to pay for it with his life. Echo Fox fumble that dive.
Yeah, TSM come up 3 for 1. It looked like it was going to be so good for Echo Fox, but their attention gets split. They get pulled apart. Half the team goes for Sven, who survives miraculously under turret, while the rest is chasing forward onto Bjergsen and can't finish him off either.
And Sven gets over 900 gold from that because he shuts down Dardoch. He gets another kill on top of it. Sven is now sitting at an advantage that's 1,500 gold for himself off this winning bottom lane. And this was off the blue contest. They want to contest it. Grig gets it anyway, but the play here from TSM to kind of stop it, and even though Smoothie gets a good ultimate, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was a great ultimate from Smoothie. They do get the initial kill very quickly, but Sven is so tanky at this point, and you can see the split focus. To me, Echo Fox needs to collapse down, kill off Sven, kill off Haunter. Instead, Dardoch and Huni are trying to stay up there, trying to fight on the top side of the map. Lost and Damonte and Smoothie are trying to go down for Sven, who still had his stopwatch, buys so much time with that. The return on the Q misses, Damonte dies, and then everything falls apart. A very mismanaged fight here from Echo Fox.
Yeah, that stopwatch coming up means a lot there because it saves him for a long time, allows him to get Dardoch afterwards and get that big cash control.
Well, TSM going to keep the goal close, and of course they still have a 2 Drake lead as the turrets are also tied. Fox again playing a little scrappy, but that does come with a few more associated risks. TSM deflected pressure this time.
And I mean, that's their strength, but it also, as we said, it's that kind of double-edged sword, right? Sometimes it is also their weakness. Sometimes they get a little bit too bloodthirsty. They expect to win on both sides, and instead of just guaranteeing a win on one side and killing Sven and maybe pressuring the turret, they end up trying to go for everything, and they get nothing.
Pressure not stopping though. Dardoch leaps on a Bjergsen, uses the smite on top of it.
no ult.
Dardoch able to Q out of the way, but Smoothie is going to block some of that here. Does get pulled back by Pike Q. The Fox still safe for now. Again, pressure on the Haunter. Demonte going to try and line it up. Haunter, where can he really go?
Oh.
The Gromp! Nice moves there from Haunter to make sure the charm could not land.
Now, those charms, they haven't been landing true pretty much at all for Demonte this game. You need to start landing those and get that extra damage because it's a large part of her kit now where it amplifies the damage of her abilities and actually the damage a person takes if the charm hits.
It's definitely critical, especially when you are going for this kind of more early game focus with, you know, the double Dark Seal. You have the Corrupting Potion. Doesn't even have one completed item at almost 18 minutes, right? So you really do want to start picking up those skills, start getting to a stronger point in the game very quickly, or Ahri can start to become less and less relevant.
Yeah, Bjergsen already finished that Nashor, so working pretty quickly on item number 2. Cooney is still very strong in the top lane though. So with Mountain Dragon up in a minute, maybe you see Fox to continue that pressure, but it does feel like they'll have to fight for an objective again in just 50 seconds.
And Dardoch still has a huge lead. You know, he's still nearly 2 levels ahead. Greg just hit 11. He is 12 and, you know, is on 2 completed items. So they have another huge damage source from Dardoch.
And he also has 4 stacks now off of that dive. Got that kill. I think it was Sven who was marked at the end finally picked it up. So he does have
all worth
pretty much everything he would want. I don't know about a 1 stack for 300, 600 gold going to this person. I don't know, but you feel really good as a Kindred when you hit that point. You basically feel like your champion now has the ability to snowball in team fights and can team fight much more effectively.
And for Dardoch, someone that is kind of plagued by notoriety, this is someone that despite how good he has looked, he has never produced results at least enough to become a champion. So this is a man with his eyes on world, looking to get stuff happen, but Smoothie may be caught out of position. Stand behind's over to Lost, but now Grig could be the target. It's going to be some good damage. Nice ult there, and that's the kill. Dardoch able to take him down. Smoothie will get executed by Pike as Dardoch. Still trying to cut it out. He gets pulled back. Lance despite his burn. Here comes Demonte, but Haunter going to zone him out of the way as Dardoch will escape. Hooney looking to save it all. Mithy takes down Dardoch, but Hooney able to grab this man. And now Demonte over the wall. Ulti there from Mithy follows through. What a play by the Pike. Demonte did to Haunter. But Lost finds up the W, and somehow Mithy gets out of there.
I think that was blind, too. I don't think he saw that he was actually right there. There was no vision on it. They knew that he was in the area, but then he just eased right out.
Another fight going slightly in TSM's way. It was the 3-for-2 in the extended fight, but Echo Fox pushing up mid here, trying to pressure a turret, and this game is dead even.
Bjergsen still has ultimate. If he can get in there, he can actually shove them into a position where it'd be very unfavorable.
Now they're under Mithy, Lost again, burst the ulti, takes down Mithy, and now Bjergsen under threat, forced to swoop away. Still the turret is on Echo Fox's eyes.
It's on Hooney though.
But the mini wave dead. Bjergsen insta-wave cleared there. Now he's going to chase in, but doesn't go for the kill.
That's one where, that's a oops from Mithy, man. He's too far forward. It's 2 damage dealers on your turret versus 1 damage dealer, and then the Pike, who's very squishy, right? He doesn't get extra HP from buying HP items. He does have some durability and Aftershock, but it's still not enough, and like mountain for TSM.
Yeah, the fights just aren't stopping. Dardoch is around, but they won't be able to get this one, and this is a very explosive game. So scrappy, both teams putting all their confidence in their in-game team fighting.
It's an explosive game, but it's literally both teams are exploding back and forth. It's not one where one team is just smashing the game. All 3 games so far have been neck and neck. And I remember when we were talking in the middle of the week, Jad was even saying this. He's just sad that this matchup of Fox TSM is a quarterfinal happening so soon. Because both of these team styles, with the way they match up against each other, is so interesting to watch. But if you just look at the whole playoffs, there are so many teams. Team Liquid, Cloud9, TSM, Echo Fox, FlyQuest, 100 Thieves. All these matchups are just so great to watch. And this one here in particular in a quarterfinal is intriguing.
Yeah, and here this is one more time, showing off that double marksman damage. Smoothie, though, pretty far up, so Dardoch can't actually get the Lamb to slide in. And we're going to have more action up here on the top side.
Ooh, Damonte stays in the brush, but there's the root landing in from Sven. Damonte now trying to get out of there and just dashes out to safety.
Yep, gotta get the dash. He still holds on to his flash, but it means that next time if they get him really quickly, they'll be able to get the flash. It's kind of, you have to gank him 3 times to make it stick and hope that those 3 ganks are within the time of the cooldown of the ultimate.
Good little bit of pressure, though. Not too much of a cost there for TSM. And the more they're keeping Damonte down, the more time is being bought for Bjergsen. He is now on 2 full items. That Banshee's Veil coming through makes it so much harder to ever pull off that assassination, because now you have to knock that off before you even look for a charm.
And this is kind of the result of banning out, I believe it was 6 mid lane champions from Damonte, taking away the Azir, and then he has to go down 7 champions in the pool potentially to the Ahri here into the matchup that was blind picked by Bjergsen.
Of note, Echo Fox did get the mid turret thanks to their additional pressure, although TSM were able to trade and get their 3rd Drake, a mountain in exchange. Does feel like TSM right now able to try and apply pressure. Fox will counterpunch where they can, though.
Yeah, I mean, TSM has full control over the top side. Not only are they getting the turret, they're on the Baron. Echo Fox is nowhere nearby. They actually spotted Dardoch on a ward down by the bottom side of the map.
Oh, Mithy again. It's all been a bait. Lost is going to be the target. The ulti from Smoothie doesn't quite catch Bjergsen.
You have to watch out for these combos. Smoothie's ultimate plus the ultimate from Huni, if he's there, would be very devastating. But like Azael said at the beginning of the game, the engage from Echo Fox, it's not reliable.
Yeah.
Landing a charm, landing a Braum Q, it's kind of you have to combine things and make this makeshift pseudo-hard engage.
Huni, the turret's on him and he's pulled in.
Yeah, pulled back, stunned up again as well. Vision of Empire not going to quite slow him down as he pops the shield.
Flank from Hanser.
Also full rage as that's actually Damonte going to get caught up and pulled back. There's the ulti from Huni, but here's Hanser in Mega Knight form. Dardoch going to try and cut it out. He scoots him out of the way, and now Dardoch in the center of the team, but Smoothie's able to block it, and Damonte dashes out from the follow-up pull by Sven.
And they weren't able to reinforce Hanser on that nice scoop backwards. TSM, they had the position on the Baron before. They get run around the map, and then they look for a play that it could have been good. Hanser had the setup, but the team is just not right in position.
And that is one of the things you can do with these sorts of compositions that Echo Fox is running. You have 4 huge damage-dealing threats. If you are segmented, everyone just turns on you and blows you up.
The trades continue though here as TSM will finally get themselves a turret lead, take down the outer ring, and finish off the mid turret. So again, they'll spend their gold. Huni pressuring here in the bot side, trying to set up and trade these turrets out. And we talked about the explosive game. Teams are in an instant rushing to Baron, it feels like.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking a second ago, I was like, I remember Echo Fox got Rift Herald. They did get Rift Herald. It actually expired and they never used it. So they didn't even get that extra pressure off of getting that objective early. And so they're a little bit more behind than they should have been in this game in terms of, I mean, they're ahead right now, but they're behind in terms of where they would be if they had actually been able to do that. So right now they're just getting kind of pressured all around and they need some type of relief.
Yeah, at the very least, even if you just drop it and make someone respond, you can pressure elsewhere on the map. You know, you're hoping that you get something from that. So definitely, you know, a bit of a mental error from Dardoch, and that is something that can be very taxing in these series. It's such high pressure. There are so many things you're trying to think about, and sometimes you do forget about those basics.
And he was the one who was set up with 3 kills at the start. But
Here comes Huni.
Huni again trying to line it up. Good equalizer there. They're going to try and look for the carries, but Bjergsen gets away and pops the stopwatch still. The rest of Echo Fox move forward. Damonte, he's found quick on the other side. They might be able to pick the jungler. He does get it. Damonte able to get the kill on Trundle smoothly. Pass back towards his teammates.
They could go to Baron here now. Grig is down. That kill was so important for Damonte, and it's his first of the game. They're onto the Baron. Can they secure it?
Ult here for Bjergsen, though. He might be able to make a big play. Mithy and Sven going to try and poke him out of the way. The Baron is there.
Watch Mithy for the ultimate.
Goes in again. Baron to Echo Fox, but can they get out safely? They pop the lance despite the move forward. Bjergsen, they caught him. They tagged him with Brawl past him, and now Sven, he's dead as well. The TSM carries put to ruin as Fox keep chasing.
Fox get the Baron, and they're chasing him down. Lost gonna go in.
Lost wants it. He can see Mithy there forward. Does pop the ult. No, not quite. And there's no follow-up chase. For Fox, they get the Baron again, and once more they're in the lead.
And that was a big-time play there from Huni, coming in with that teleport, making something happen for the team. We talked about the poor engage. Well, how about this TP flank from Huni, layering the equalizer across the team, roasting up everyone. They have to go full into disengage.
When you're having a bad day, you have the flu, go for comfort, man. Get your pillow, get your blanket, get your comfort champion. Pull up with the rumble with the TP flank from Huni. Beautifully placed there to just scorch TSM. He doesn't get any kills, but he forces 4 people, 3 people to back up and gives them space for the Baron.
And I really like this actually preemptive ult from Dardoch as they want to go forward. There are low HP bars, no chance for them to TSM to go forward on a smoothie and get that kill or really go for any sort of play. It's full commitment. Burst down Bjergsen, and they're on to the Infernal. The bikes don't stop.
This is really important because Bjergsen tries to scoot to Hunter, but he misses. And Fox really needs to keep this Infernal out of TSM. That's Dardoch. He does get it. Grig not able to steal that one, and now they've actually caught Sven. He's going to get stunned. He dies as lost. Goes unstoppable.
Another great equalizer there to catch out a member of TSM. Sven gets roasted. They have Baron. They have the Infernal. This is a push mid from Echo Fox.
But what was Sven doing? They're so separated from the rest of his team. 4 members on the right side. He walks in solo, gets burned down. Echo Fox can be pressuring in Hibs here, knocking down a lot of turrets.
And TSM, we looked at their composition. It's supposed to be these double mages just wave clearing, causing pressure, poking, and it's hard to engage on them. Huni's equalizers are causing these engages to just be forced. We said, don't have hard engage. This one is turning out to be.
And this is reminiscent of game number 1 where the Kai'Sa was supposed to be pressured, Kai'Sa was supposed to be behind. It is now Lost, who is ahead in farm, who is 5-0-4. Reaching late game on this Kai'Sa is going to be a monstrous threat, and Dardoch with 8 marks.
8 marks is a huge boon for him. It's not just the range, it's the extra attack speed, it's the extra percent HP damage. And Mythy,
TSM look like they're getting desperate. Mythy, he has to make these plays, but Fox have so much damage on their team comp. They have such a good lead against TSM. The TSM know if they commit, they will evaporate.
and I would love to see the gold right now because it's about 1,000, 2,000, 1,500 between the laners. But then you look at Dardoch, he is 3 levels up over Grig. He is about 3,500 gold, almost 4,000 gold up over Grig. He's on a carry, yes, but he has been putting in the work. He is doing amazingly right now. He has the most gold on his team.
And you can see that early game focus where he was focusing on farm, focusing on playing around the top side, taking camps away from Grig. That has paid off. And all the time that Grig spent shadowing bottom lane, trying to get Sven and Mythy this edge, trying to execute on a dive, never panned out. And now the Swain has certainly been outscaled.
Yeah, and the fact that Grig Trundle can usually recover from a position like this because if he has a tank to kind of mooch off of, leech those stats, he's going to have more effective kind of inventory or combat stats. He doesn't have that in this game because Echo Fox went real.
They're looking.
TSM got to get creative, keep it smoothie again, going to get pulled back around. Lost though moving forward, Dardoch jumps straight to the team, and Demonte, he found the chop, Bjergsen's dead. Lost just dives in and shuts that down. Sven, he's dead as well. TSM lose 3 in almost an instant, and Dardoch, he smells it. He knows when he grabs the ace, the game is there. That might be it. Mythy, he falls.
You don't need the ace here. They're going to clean this one up. Echo Fox going to push TSM to match point.
And Huni says, I may be ill, but test me again. I dare you. Echo Fox run over TSM and push themselves to match point.
And you can see the smile on Huni's face. That was a sick Rumble game.
Those equalizers were some of the best of the split for sure, really showing how dominant he can be in these team fighting. And credit to so many of the members, Dardoch, Huni, and Lost again, showing up in a tough matchup, being put behind, not being given any resources, survives and contributes a massive game in the late game.
And ThinkHard was saying after the champions, like, you kind of had to keep them on their toes, change things up, make it so that TSM can't get comfortable, because that was Demonte and Lost in the previous game doing work. This one was, once again, classic Echo Fox, classic Huni, get ganks onto Hanser, get him ahead, and this carry worked out perfectly because Dardoch and Huni in tandem, that's the stuff of, that's beautiful.
And what do you do in Pickman against this team now, right? Like, they have showed very different styles. They have showed, classic tank top a couple of games in a row. Huni goes back on the carry as soon as you leave it open, absolutely roasts you. We have seen early game focus with the Draven. We have seen late game scaling with the Kai'Sa. It's going to be tough for TSM, but it has been a hard-fought series, and they are still very close to winning all these games.
These second phase bans have been all over the place for TSM. The Zillion Syndra this time, I feel like instead you're going to go back to the Rumble and the Gangplank. Just don't let Huni have those comfortable champions for him. Get him on something that he's uncomfortable on and that you can exploit.
Devontae did a great job also kind of losing gracefully in that situation. He was the focal point of a lot of that game. All of Echo Fox played well to get us here as Echo Fox are now 1 win away from earning their spot in Oracle Arena. And to hear how they did just that, let's send it back to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you once again, gentlemen. Echo Fox now up in the series 2-1. And I'm going to go out and say that that felt like the most decisive of the 3 games that we've had so far. But I want to key into the interview that Ovly had with ThinkCard around the drafting, because I did love a couple of the things that he said around, hey, we've got enough strategies in our book that we'd rather keep TSM on their toes by switching things up than sticking with what had worked in game 1, game 2.
And that's what I was kind of saying at the end is, like, I like when teams don't often just go back to the exact same strategy. If they're close games, if you're stomping them, it's like, yeah, run it back. Let's see what they have. But here, these have been really close games. You don't just want to sit there on the same side with the same draft and say, I doubt TSM changes anything up. So TSM did change things up. It was the Rise band that forced the change in the first pick, but from then on, it was completely different.
Well, I also think TSM changed things up in a bad way.
Yeah, that's fair.
I thought they had a bad draft. So the early Swain and early Trundle are signaling 2 things. They're signaling we're probably doing Mage Bot, and they're also signaling that they don't have Kindred priority, which I think against Dardoch is a really big mistake. And if TSM isn't going to let Grig play Kindred, which he's very good at in solo queue, but not necessarily in this team sense, I think you have to ban it. I think it's Dardoch's best champion. And there's a lot of other problems that I have with this TSM draft, especially
Let's keep going.
Let's keep going.
All right. I think the Azir is a silly blind pick, especially if you're saving your top lane counter pick to be a Gnar against a Rumble, which is going to get shoved in and lose top lane anyway, because you can't even win the 2v2 with your counter pick.
And you have to take physical damage because you have magic everywhere else.
Yeah, you can't take a magic damage counter pick. You know what? You probably could flex the Swain up and have a chance, but you've already picked Pyke, who's better with the mage kill lane and wouldn't be able to protect against the Braum. TSM really fumbled the draft, I think.
I actually don't know what TSM was doing in this game. I agree with pretty much everything you said. Not sure why they're prioritizing Trundle after Dardoch just beat them with Kindred, because that matchup, even before the Trundle nerfs, was pretty good for Kindred, you know? Trundle just stacks a lot of HP. He's good against tanks. Kindred is good against people with a lot of HP, and she's not a tank. So it's a very Kindred-favored matchup, and you're giving it to someone like Dardoch, who is probably the best carry jungler in the league right now, and he's just showed up huge.
And he's performing today, right? That's the other thing, is not only does he have kind of the pedigree or the history of performing on this champion and be good at carry junglers, he's actually showing up today, and I think you have to acknowledge that in a 5-game series and take it away from him.
I think he's dictating the pace with a lot of these invades, again, on the bot side here, but I also think Huni had a fantastic game off of a tank, which was something we were kind of criticizing in their game 1 draft, where you had both your best players on a tank. Game 2, they put Dardoch at least on the carry, and then here, both of them, and what do you know? It's their best-looking game so far.
They've actually taken 1 less tank each draft, so
next we need a
I
carry
might
support.
expect Smoothie to pull out the brand support.
Okay, there it is.
And every game has been more and more decisive. So
Yeah,
really,
just throw more
less tanks, more win.
You go too far, and you wrap back around.
Negative tanks.
I do think that Echo Fox's draft is getting a little bit scientific here, and sometimes science does go too far, because I actually didn't love the Ahri pick.
I was concerned.
Like, Damane played fine on the champion, but I just don't think Ahri's that great in the meta right now. You know, he has the option to pick Zoe, which he's phenomenal on, and he went with Ahri.
I love this Kindred ultimate so much. There's a Gnar charging up his Mega Gnar. Azir has ultimate. TSM's getting ready to slam him against the back of the pit, and the moment of hesitation that's created by that Kindred ultimate gives Huni time.
This equalizer.
That's beautiful.
Right here.
Huni had some amazing ults this game.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, good game.
So dirty. But yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, that's the big part of it. There were some concerns looking at the Echo Fox team comp, like how do they do things with the lack of frontline and whatnot. But we saw TP usage out of the Rumble to flank and set up fights. Again, creating those chaotic skirmishes where with high damage dealers coming from all angles, it just felt hard for TSM to deal with.
2.2k lol.
Ooh.
I mean, it's a Trundle.
It's those nerfs. That would have been 4.4k without the nerfs.
They took 40 damage off his Q. What do you expect him to do?
Yeah, it definitely was a hard game to play Trundle, and I don't know. This game kind of just feels like a fluke from TSM. I'm pretty sure no one on their team or coaching staff is looking at this being like, yeah, we had a good draft here. I think they really critically messed up.
I am about to tell you all something that I'm sure you're going to hate.
TSM
is on red side.
TSM chose red side yet again. So
cannot dislike that decision enough because, okay, so blue side historically has been favored since the beginning of time. You know, first pick is nice, right? But the one advantage purple or red side, excuse me, I'm old.
Yeah,
I'm old. The advantage for red side is counter picks. But if your counter picking involves blinding Azir and taking Gnar for the second time and into a Rumble, which isn't even that good of a matchup, I feel like you're just not really taking advantage of your counter picks whatsoever.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully, TSM is saying we're still sticking with the game plan of not wanting Huni to counter pick us and forcing them into blindable spots, and hopefully they then react better and say, well, we just need to pick better counter picks or actually commit to that game plan, because if you're taking red side for those reasons, it means you have something in your back pocket. When we definitely did not see it this game, there were a lot of mid lane bans, and maybe that's why they kind of got scared to taking what mid laner they wanted. It's hard to say.
Yeah, TSM needs to get something that Echo Fox is scared of. That's one of the weird
what are you
things that's
scared of
happening
right
in this
now?
draft, because you're scared of the first, like if you're TSM, you're now scared of Kindred. They're talking about this on the desk. You're scared of the first pick Rise. You're scared of Varus because that's what Lost has been good at. You're clearly scared of Rakan because it's been banned the whole game. So like, one of the things you can do on red side, obviously, is you control the power picks if you're able to give them one thing they must take and then get it back. I actually liked it when TSM was taking Kai'Sa in the first bit, but they're technically scared of that because the Draven's been effective. They must have something that they think they should be scared of.
Just to see where blue side 59% win rate. So just to put some numbers to it, exactly. So 59 to 41. I mean, it definitely it only supports your point, Jack, that TSM must really feel there's a reason they should be on red side.
Well, Echo Fox chose red side a lot. They're the one team that actually seemed to prefer it. So that's a little
until today.
One thing that I think is pretty interesting about, especially how last draft went, is that while red side is the counterpick side, Echo Fox counterpicked almost every role. They got a mid counterpick, they got a jungle counterpick.
That should not happen.
The top lane matchup was good.
And their jungle was a great matchup too. Trundle.
Final thing on the red side, usually it sucks because there's a lot of power picks. Every power pick got hit this patch, basically. It was very much a competitively aimed, nerf-focused patch on strong champions, which might be why people feel a little more comfortable on red on 816. But if you're not going to get the counter picks, it's just not going to work.
I got a feeling TSM takes their mid laner before the second ban phase this time around. We saw 6 bans go across mid laners in this game. I feel like we're going to see the LeBlanc, something with a little bit more agency for Bjergsen, come out early, just by virtue. We can't let it go that late, and then maybe still hold on to that counter pick for the top lane.
If I'm TSM's coach here, what I'd be saying is they generally perform best when they're playing around Bjergsen. And so just put him on a playmaking champion, something like LeBlanc, Zoe, whatever.
Syndra.
Put Hanser on a tank. He's good at that kind of role. The Gnar Kennen style is not really working out for them. Give Grigne something strong, you know, just not a tank into Kindred. And then your bot lane just needs to go back on the Braum and a carry. That's kind of the style they've done well with. And they seem to be branching out, but not finding much success.
Yeah, here's the headset.
Yeah, there it is. We just laid it out for you, TSM.
TSM coach.
TSM need to tie the series right here. See if they can pull out all the stops versus Echo Fox after the break.
From the table, Thieves wants to try and grab it. Haunter, they're already in onto Huni. Dardak here on the top side, good equalizer. He's going to force the flash away. First blood gifted over.
Look. Nice, Jesper. Oh, Beer's going. Nice. Hitter's up to Tara. Kai'Sa Sons.
He gets pulled back, lands despite his burn. Here comes Damonte, but Haunter going to zone him out of the way as Dardak will escape. Huni looking to save it all. Minty takes down Dardak.
I take Azir. Azir, no flash. Nice.
No, we can.
Yeah, we can. Wow. Okay, boy.
Lux just dives in and shuts that down. Ben, he's dead as well. TSM lose 3 in almost an instant. And Dardock, he smells it. He knows when he grabs the ace, the game